Hi, I'm Jasmine Nicole. Welcome to the Motivational Mystic, a space for authentic, higher conscious conversations to motivate, inspire, and empower. Thanks for listening. Each week, I'll drop a new conscious raising episode. Let's dive in. So many people get sidetracked in pursuit of their goals and aspirations because they let life happen to them instead of living intentionally. Obviously, it's all up to the individual how they live their life because we are all the authors of our own life story. As you evolve with life, you start thinking about what you want out of it. You may want to get married, start a family, pursue career aspirations. You become intentional about what it is you want out of life. I think in pursuit of those things, it's normal to think about things you've experienced and overcome in your own life journey. When you're setting those expectations for yourself and what you want to achieve in your life, you start to think about what it is you want to incorporate from your upbringing that can assist you along the way, and things you don't want to incorporate into your life from your upbringing. I've been having a lot of conversations recently with friends about family patterns. Recognizing certain family patterns, hereditary patterns that you have identified in your family lineage that maybe you don't want to pass on to the next generation. And we all have those family patterns we can identify. Nobody's family is perfect, that's for sure. So I've been having that conversation a lot recently with friends about some of the negative family patterns we've identified in our families that we don't want to perpetuate. It made me realize that identifying those negative family patterns is a prerequisite for breaking generational curses in a person's bloodline and becoming an ancestral cycle breaker in your family. So you're not passing on those negative traits to the next generation. You have to really be cognizant and perceptive enough to make sure you don't perpetuate those negative traits. That was the main takeaway from those conversations that I had. So I thought it was really important to have an honest conversation about that today. Since we are all the authors of our life stories, and your book, as someone who's intentionally living life and not just letting it happen to you and reacting to it, what is the outline of your story? The table of contents. What do you want each chapter to look like? You will get to a certain point in life, as everyone does, when you start to ponder these things. Some people get to that point sooner than others, and that's okay. We are all on different timelines on our life journeys, where we don't have to do the same things as each other, be the same, or look the same. That's the beauty of life. A mixed bag is a fun experience. But if you are someone who wants to embody intentional living, it means you make a plan for your life and you make sure you don't let too many obstacles or distractions get in your way. Obviously, you will encounter them, but don't let those obstacles or distractions stop you. You just have to brush yourself off and get back to it one way or another. Persevering through whatever challenges or obstacles that come your way is fundamental to living your life intentionally. And it gets pretty cool after a while when you have the trust in yourself that you will just figure out things despite whatever circumstances come your way. None of us have complete control over the timelines in our lives. We are doing different things at different times and having different life experiences and challenges at different periods in our lives. So intentional living is just mapping out what you want those chapters in the table of contents in your life story to look like. For some people, you get to that point in your life where that intentional living really springs into the forefront of your mind, where you're like, okay, I've accomplished X, Y, and Z. So what's next? What's going to give you purpose? What's going to give you fulfillment? It's cool to have goals, aspirations, and dreams and be able to attain them. But what I'm starting to realize is the importance of having a nice balance between that and nourishing the soul. Nourishing the soul by making time for self-care, self-fulfillment, happiness, and peace that's not tied to accomplishing some external goal or external gratification. These are attributes that can't be forced. They have to be cultivated and experienced, which can almost conflict with that go-getter mentality of checking things off of your to-do list of goals to accomplish. Of course, having a strong work ethic and having that go-getter mentality can make you very successful. And with success comes fulfillment in that aspect. But you can also physically and mentally burn yourself out in the process. So, it's important to have a balance in life of pursuing those external aspirations, but also not losing sight of taking care of yourself, nourishing your soul, making self-care a priority so you have a balance and don't experience burnout. Taking all of these factors into consideration is important when you want to live intentionally and not just let life happen to you. With taking those things into consideration and wanting to live an intentional life, you do get to a point where you have to take an honest look at yourself and start to identify those patterns in your family that you don't want to embody, and that will look different for everyone. Some people may come from a family of anger or quick-tempered people, a family that has a scarcity mindset, or maybe a family consumed with greed. Whatever the case may be, every family has its stuff. Every family has its drama. No one is absolved of that. That's one thing for sure. So, all of us have that instinct and awareness that kicks in when you're mapping out your life of what aspects of your upbringing do you want to perpetuate, do you want to embody, do you want to pass on to the next generation. With that comes recognizing certain patterns or behaviors in your family lineage. I know for me personally, I've identified in my own family that there's an element of manipulation and control. If a person can't manipulate you to say or act in a way they want you to, they have to control how other people see you by creating false narratives or just flat out lying to cover up the fact that they're being manipulative and to avoid taking accountability for it. So, because of my family dynamic, I'm very intentional about being an authentic and honest person. I'm a straight shooter. I don't like trying to control someone's perception of reality for ego gratification. That doesn't do anything for me, and it's very low vibrational. Taking accountability won't kill you, so just owning my words and actions is something very important to me. Those are some of the patterns I've recognized in my own family line that I don't embody, and I certainly don't want to perpetuate. However, you can also identify those positive patterns or behaviors in your family that you do want to embody and pass on to the next generation. Incorporating that equal balance of yin and yang to become more perceptive of all the patterns and behavior in your family ancestry can help you when you're wanting to live intentionally and map out your life story rather than just letting life happen to you and reacting to it. Everyone has a story. We all come from somewhere. And it's up to you how you want the story to unfold. You can take experiences from the past, integrate them into your present, cherry pick what it is that you want to carry on into your future, and some of those attributes or experiences that you want to leave behind. But ultimately, it's up to the individual how you want to live your life. Living intentionally is really just making conscious decisions to get you to a place where you want to be and not getting distracted along the way. So, identifying things within yourself that, hey, I know this is not going to serve me in my future, so I need to acknowledge, take accountability, and make sure I am not perpetuating those same dynamics or attributes that you can see through your own family behaviors will not help you. But intentional living is also holding yourself accountable. You have to be accountable for the way you act, the things that you say, the way you show up in this world. And really keep focused on what it is that you want to do, to achieve, and who you want to be. So, I think at least taking the time to be introspective and, taking inventory of where you come from and then where you are now and where you want to be is vital, because you can almost help yourself avoid any potential pitfalls or negative experiences, just learning from the experiences of the people from your past. How did certain behaviors serve them? Did it help them? Did it hinder them? Use everything as a learning experience. But I think really being conscious of identifying family patterns, and within that, being a person that wants to live intentionally is just making better choices than the people before you did, so you can be that generational curse breaker, that ancestral cycle breaker, and be the example of what it means to step out on your own and do things differently. Be sovereign, not necessarily have to do what everyone else did because that's just the status quo in your family. There's nothing wrong with being an individual. If you want to live intentionally, it's essentially a requirement. You don't want to follow a script. You don't want to be a carbon copy of someone else, because that's just a boring life. If we were all the same, this would be such a boring world. So a little variety keeps things interesting, right? There's a reason why they say variety is the spice of life. So with that being said, as a person that wants to live intentionally, just be sure that you are evaluating all aspects of your life, the present, the future, and also your past. You don't have to be defined by your past, but you also don't want to be held prisoner by it either. So if there are negative behaviors or family patterns that you can recognize now, make sure you're not becoming a prisoner to them and perpetuating them onto the next generation and embodying it yourself. Well, that's all I had for today, everyone. Until next time, goodbye.